So the state Senate in South Dakota has passed a stricter ban on Delta-8 and other intoxicating hemp products. And the other term that they use for this is very funny to me. Maybe this is a common term. It is the first that I've heard of it. The state Senate has voted to pass the original stricter version of a ban on the widely available hemp-derived diet weed products that induce highs similar to marijuana. Again, that is not a term I've ever heard, but I guess that's what we're calling it now. Diet weed is the CBD and Delta-8 that you could buy in a smoke shop. House Bill 1125 had originally targeted a wide swath of products. The gummies, vape pens, pre-rolled joints, and smokable flowers can be produced using high concentrations of the psychoactive chemicals present in minuscule amounts in industrial hemp, or using synthetically derived versions of these same chemicals. Maybe it's important to point out, too, that this article was originally published by a small publication called the South Dakota Searchlight and then syndicated by Marijuana Moment. So that might frame some of the way that they're describing these products. So House Bill 1125 flip-flopped between which kinds of products would be covered as it moved through the lawmaking process. Representative Brian Mulder, a Republican from Sioux Falls, moved his bill through the House Health and Human Services Committee in its original form, but saw it modified on the House floor to target only products made from the lab-grown chemicals, which are sold under names like THCO, another new cannabinoid that you can get in smoke shops apparently in South Dakota. Representative Orrin Westmeister, a Democrat from Parade, told his fellow representatives that a ban on products made with naturally occurring chemicals would hurt small businesses, owners, and hemp growers alike. Under that change, products sold under names like Delta-8 or Delta-10 THC would still be legal to sell. The House passed Westmeister's amendment and then passed House Bill 1125 on a unanimous vote. All that changed in the HHS committee last week, Senator Brent Hoffman, a Republican from Sioux Falls, successfully proposed an amendment putting the language of the hoped-for ban right back where it was when Mulder introduced it. Senator Ryan Marr, a Republican from Isabel, tried to move the amendment onto the Senate floor on Monday, though he saw none of the success. The ban could result in a flood of products on South Dakota streets this spring as retailers move to clear their soon-to-be illegal inventory, Marr said. He also pointed out that the easy accessibility of Delta-8 products online and the investments made by smoke shops who invested in that state. And this is a really great quote that I think he puts out there, and it's not only applicable to South Dakota, but Marr said, "We always want to tout that our state is open for business until we don't like that business." And that seems to be a very common theme in places where potentially there's a voter passed initiative or some other type of legislation, but then it gets limited and amended according to what the legislators want and not what the people want. But that's really it right now. We're looking at South Dakota is attempting to prohibit Delta-8, Delta-10, other hemp-derived cannabinoids and hemp-derived cannabis products in smoke shops, and we'll see what happens. And I think we all know, but that's probably just another round of whack-a-mole game. But I'd love to hear what my fellow correspondents think.
First question, this I think is probably good for public safety and whatnot, but how are they really planning on enforcing it when you have all these gas stations and head shops everywhere just having all these products? And the reality is South Dakota doesn't have the police force to be able to go into all these places and really regulate them like that. So how are they really planning on enforcing this? And even if they did, would that be a good use of tax dollars and of public servants and peace officers, public safety officers? I don't think so. And I don't necessarily think that Delta-8 and Delta-10 are good or safe products, or I don't encourage necessarily people to use them. But as we've seen over and over again, prohibition is not an effective deterrent of human behavior. So the question is, why are they wasting legislative man hours discussing this issue, and really what they should be talking about is how to reduce criminal penalties for possessing real cannabis? I feel like a lot of these municipalities, bro, they would have because you bring up an interesting point as far as the resources that they spend on these things, and I just feel like they would be able to get probably a lot farther with public perception than creating a ban and having law enforcement enforce it if they just put all of those funds into like some type of public messaging campaign and then came up with some other type of messaging something that they just pummeled everybody in South Dakota with, to shift their minds on that topic.
I mean, I agree with you.
Yeah. It needs to happen in every state. I mean, even here in California, it needs to happen. There's still a lot of people who don't understand.
I like it in principle, but you look at what happened in Colorado during legalization when they had the little rat cage debacle where they spent millions of dollars on some third-party marketing consultant to help them craft their messaging for their anti-youth smoking campaign, and they built these big rat cages in public spaces.
Oh, I remember that.
You're a lab rat. We don't know what the long-term effect of this. And it completely backfired. There was a huge trend on like Instagram and social media, people taking videos of themselves smoking joints in the rat cages.
Yeah. I mean, it's trendy, and like that's, oh man, I totally remember that. Oh, that was so.
What a debacle! They spent millions of dollars on that.
In all fairness, that probably brought a lot of tourism dollars into the state, though, because people all wanted to go and travel to take those pictures for their social medias, because everybody's fiending for that dopamine from their social media accounts.
Yeah, and I mean, the biggest winner in that was probably the marketing firm that came up with that, because they got some obscene public-private contract.
And not to mention, I think it was a huge success, because it was bringing people in from all over the country to take pictures in cages.
Yeah.
All of this still boils down to the stupid definitions they applied to hemp versus marijuana or cannabis. Because now somebody's going to go, oh, you say I can't have Delta-9. Oh, I'm going to call it Delta-9A. And it's not defined that, or it's Delta-8 or it's Delta-10 or whatever the hell they try to put on this. And the problem is, and this is not brand new, when you try to prohibit shit that people want, you're chasing them to try to figure, oh, there's a loophole. Let me close the loophole. California's trying to do the same thing right now. We passed some hemp laws that basically outlaw analogs, isomers, derivatives, as much as they can. Now they're using the term intoxicating cannabinoids. That's another definitional term. And when you talk to people that don't want this, they act like, my progressive friends wanted to outlaw and tax every damn thing they didn't like. Well, you turn it over to conservatives, they do the same damn thing. We're going to outlaw it and tax it. Okay, but if you can't enforce it, why are you doing this? I mean, the conservatives rail against regulations, but when you give them a chance, they try to outlaw or regulate the shit out of this. So everybody at this has got egg on their face, and they don't want to admit people want to smoke pot. Get the fuck over it.
Yeah.
How do we get this open without wasting dollars on this shit?
That's right. Maddie, were you going to say something? I think I might have accidentally cut you off earlier.
Mandy?
No, I was going to say something to what Jason said earlier. I really, I think I already did comment on it, though.
Okay. All right. Well, seeing as that, man, this is going to be interesting to watch. I can't wait. South Dakota is such a train wreck half the time, and so this is going to be.
They're not trendsetters, that's for sure.
That's for sure. Well, they actually did. They actually did set one trend, because they were the first state to pass a voter initiative with medical and adult use all at the same time, as far as their opening debut, which was later turned around by the governor against the will of the people. But nonetheless, that is trend setting